Most applicants to med school don't even realize they're making this mistake. I've seen it in a ton of the personal statements my company's been sent for review this year. People will be talking about their motivation to pursue medicine, and they will do this thing where they'll use a phrase that's something like more than just X, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. They'll be talking about doing some sort of caregiving or service-oriented work, and they'll talk about how that work wasn't enough for them. It wasn't edifying or satisfying enough for them. And they'll say that as a doctor, I would get more. I would be able to do more and be more and have more power and control. There's several problems with this which make applications less compelling when you include this. First and most obviously is that when you say that, it's literally true for everybody. The scope of practice of a physician is greater than the scope of practice of a hospital volunteer, but there's nothing particularly compelling about saying that. It's obvious. The second big issue with it is that sometimes people frame it in such a way where that seems to be the core of their motivation, meaning they're making their entire motivation for becoming a physician all about personal edification and self-satisfaction and building up one's own sense of ego and power. Now, of course, you want to be satisfied and fulfilled in your career, but I've read personal statements where people basically just make that same point again and again 2 or 3 times, and then they have some sort of conclusion. By contrast, people who do a much better job are able to make it about the fulfillment or the way they were inspired or struck by the impact that medicine can have in a person's life. They talk about the things that they've seen and how it struck them, why it mattered, and why it mattered to the people around them. They talk about wanting to be a part of making that difference. A subtle shift. And even when you do shift like that, it's kind of implied that you're inspired, that you're jazzed, that you're going to be satisfied and delighted in doing that work. But the self-satisfaction itself is not the big core motivation when you frame it this second way. It might seem like a subtle difference, but I've been helping people become doctors for 10 years. I've looked at hundreds of personal statements, and I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. So don't mess that up. Now go re-review your personal statement and make sure you're not making that mistake. If you want myself or a member of my team to look at it, check out the link in my bio. You've got this.